Hello and welcome back to News and Notes. With me in the studio today, Dr. Thomas Heisenbuttel, who is here promoting his new book, The Ambiguity of Evil. And Dr. Heisenbuttel, reading through your book, and I think I have this correct, you are essentially saying that there is no distinction between good and evil?
What I'm saying is that our traditional concepts, or our traditional categories of good and evil that we place people into, we put a white hat on one person, a black hat on the other.
Like the old cowboy movies for our listeners, right?
Right. That this is really an outdated, outmoded concept. That in fact humanity is far more complex than this. Is far more ambiguous than just putting people in one side or the other of some kind of imaginary dividing line.
So you're trying to change the way people view humanity? Is this
Absolutely.
kind of this, what, like a scattershot of
No, that's not
morals,
just a scattershot. That we have within us, every person, no matter who they are, has within us the seeds of good and the seeds of evil. That we have, the human nature is far more complex than what normally
So
people
essentially
think
you're
of.
saying like a sliding scale back and forth. I mean, you know, I think
Well,
there are some people that we can say are genuinely and thoroughly bad. I mean, Hitler is an example. Generally a bad
Sure,
man.
everyone throws Mother Teresa on the other end of the spectrum, and yes, you
Well,
might
I think
say...
those are two people that we can definitely place in those
right,
two
they're
camps, as you
they're
put
on
it.
the ends, possibly, of the spectrum, as the most extreme examples. But they're still both human. And we, as regular human beings,
I think
normal
that
people,
we
fit somewhere
would
in
have a
between
lot
that.
of people there that would contest the idea of Hitler as a human being. I think that some people would say he gave up that.
To deny
identity.
his humanity is even give him too much power. He's just a person.
He was a person who committed genocide.
But within each of us, we have this capacity, given the right circumstances, that we can do.
I
good,
can't
we
think
can
of
do
right
bad.
circumstances that would lead to that kind of monstrosity. Though, I mean, I understand what
But
you're
most
saying.
of us are not in that extreme situation, not that extreme person. In fact, most of us, a normally good person, given the right circumstances, the right sense of desperation, can commit something they would be ashamed of later.
I think you're taking out the element of accountability.
No,
though.
people are so responsible for their actions. We know through numerous academic experiments that people randomly categorized, put in different situations, in a scientific setting, can do good things and can do horrible things. And it just that shows us that within each of us, there's something about us that we can do things that are bad.
Mr. Stevens, you are a very punctual man. I've had the tea steeping, expecting you at 5 o'clock, and here it is 5 on the dot. You do not disappoint.
Well, I'd hate to disappoint my favorite potential client.
I'm charming, too. But you know, I was hoping that you would disappoint me today. The thought of you struggling back over that road at dusk and keeping your wife waiting on you. Oh, I hate to think of what she thinks of me.
Oh, no. Judy knows how it is. She's used to me stopping off at other people's houses after the office. She knows how it is, how it's all a part of gaining experience, building a core of happy clients, making them feel comfortable.
Oh, Mr. Stevens, would you care to come and sit down? Of course you would. So awkward standing here. Oh, not that one. Here. You'll have to forgive me, Mr. Stevens. I don't really use this front part of the house anymore. The farm laborers come to the back door, and it's been years since I waited here at night for Will to come home from work. Are you sure you wouldn't rather meet at a different time? You should eat more dinners with your wife, Mr. Stevens. You should relax more. You called me 3 times before convincing me to make this appointment. Very persistent, and evening calls. Do you work from home, too?
Griefs pass. Hope remains. Will, your husband?
My late husband, Wilfred Weatherby. A ridiculous name, I know. My first reaction upon hearing it was not as polite as yours, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, Cory, please.
He spent 50 years showing me how wrong my first impression of him was based on that name. Good man. Very thoroughly good. He's the one who engraved the inscription on that clock and on my ring. Every day, keep this lesson in front of your eyes and close to your heart. New beginnings are based on hope that outlasts grief. Not what my mother would have wanted.
Oh, she didn't like him.
she never met him. She didn't survive the war, the Second World War. My real name, my original name, is Maria Radowski. I grew up in Warsaw. A Jew. You know this history? What happened in Warsaw?
Oh, you mean the Holocaust? You're a survivor.
We weren't religious. I guess my mother thought that would save us that and the money. But in the end, we were herded into the same rotting ghetto with the rest. Me, that clock, this ring, and a few scraps of paper. Or all the remains of my family that saw the end of it. And they only survived because they were good and hidden outside the ghetto. So now, Mr. Stevens, you must convince me why I should have these things, these bones of my mother and my family, appraised and insured. You must argue with emotion and logic. You must make me change my mind that they should dissolve into the dust with me like the rest. I haven't had a good argument in years.
Well, they're antiques.
Oh, from the century before last. I know. They're old, but so am I.
Well, but the history they've seen.
Being buried under a Warsaw latrine doesn't make something important, Cory.
It's part of what makes them valuable.
Oh, I get along fine with the money I have in the farm. You're not trying hard enough, Cory.
Well, to leave to your children, your grandchildren.
Will and I never could have children. These things are all that remains of my family. After the war ended, I found them. I rescued them at least. But I made up my mind that I would keep them with me always, even after. Do you have children, Cory?
Oh, we're expecting our first. It's still months and months off, though.
You're so lucky. New beginnings. All the more reason to spend more time with your wife and not with an old woman like me.
To leave to your friends or your neighbors after you're gone?
My neighbors can die and go to hell. Too many Germans. I don't care what happens to them. I think you should go, Cory, before it gets too dark.
Not your neighbors, then. History. Leaving them to the Holocaust Museum or the Wiesenthal Center? Anything that'll help people remember what was done to you and to your family. Having this ring and that clock in there and anything else here that you have tied to that period, assessed, insured for their value, documented and recorded, it'll all help. It'll help them find them. It'll help them get them so that they're not buried forever, so that you're not buried forever. So that you and your memories and your family, they keep on living together forever. Please, Mary.
This contract means more to you than just a fee, doesn't it?
It means everything to me right now. And for my family, a beginning.
You've had some griefs of your own, yes?
This whole past year. I mean, with the new business and Judy and the baby. I mean, it's like I'm working harder than I ever have before to be something for Judy. But I'm always just inches behind, and I keep falling behind.
You're a very persuasive salesman, Mr. Stevens. Passionate, caring. You're going to make your clients very happy.
Does this mean you'll let me appraise your antiques?
Let me have one more night to think it over. Come back tomorrow morning. I'll let you know for sure. I'm still inclined to take everything into the ground with me. But if I say yes, you can appraise all of it. Everything in the house. The clock, the ring, all of the old things that Will collected.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll be here first thing in the morning. Is 9 all right? Or maybe 8. Should I come early?
8 o'clock will be fine. You go straight home to your wife now. No dawdling over contracts at the office.
Hey.
Hey, honey. I'm sorry. I had a sales call way out in the middle of nowhere and then some paperwork to finish up at the office after. You have a good night?
Oh, I finished off the rest of the leftover spaghetti and then spent the next couple hours wishing I hadn't.
Oh, you poor baby. You and garlic never get along, do you?
I don't know why you put so much in the store-bought sauce. It's got plenty in it already. You hungry? Sandwich or something?
Oh, no. I picked up something to eat between the sales call and the office.
Okay.
This one's a go, Marshmallow. I don't know it for sure yet, but I can feel it.
That's good, honey. I'm gonna grab a glass of water. I'll make you something.
She's this old lady. House out in the middle of nowhere. Not nowhere like your cousin's farm. I mean nowhere. Absolutely packed with all this crazy old stuff. And she just lives out there. Completely self-reliant. Kind of inspiring.
Did you see the envelope on the table when you came in?
You mean the water bill? Or the amazingly late birthday card from your Aunt Rosalie? A $5. I bet this means she's forgotten what happened at the wedding dance.
No, I mean the one from Seattle with the silver foil address label.
Who do we know in Seattle?
Beekman and Associates Incorporated. It's a job offer.
Well, this is posh. How can they afford to hire anybody when their paper takes up all the budget?
I have to consider this one, Cory. It's the best offer yet.
I don't know if this is such a good time.
Look, you told me to apply, remember? As insurance, in case your business didn't pan out. Well, we're 10 months in, and the contracts you've gotten aren't enough to carry us all by themselves. And this town's just not big enough for me to be employable.
I know things haven't gotten off to as good a start as we'd planned. But if we have to dip into our reserves...
We're at the end of our reserves. Look, I know the tricks. I can make it stretch a month, maybe 2. But after that, I'm not that good of an accountant. And now is not the time to be risky.
So we're ruined if we don't move on this. Is that it? We're ruined?
We're not over the edge yet, but we're looking at it.
You know, you can go ahead and say it. We're ruined, and it's my fault, and you're mad at me.
God, Cory, this is not about you. That's not what this is about. This is not a test of whether you're a good provider or whether or not you're going to be a good father. That's not what this is about. We have to act on this, and soon. And I don't have time to prop up your ego while you reevaluate things and try to come to a decision.
Does Beekman and Associates know you're pregnant?
They have a good maternity policy. It's supposed to be good from what I hear.
1 month. That's all I ask, is 1 month. If I land this client tomorrow, it'll flush out our reserves, and I can start going after larger accounts in the valley, and everything will look different in a month.
Be sure, Cory. Be very sure you nail this account tomorrow. Okay?
Mary Weatherby? Mrs. Weatherby? Mrs. Weatherby? Mrs. Weatherby? Mary? Mrs. Weatherby? Mary. Fuck. No! Mary.
racing. I feel like I've been running. Hey, what are you doing home so early? You didn't close. Oh, Cory. Oh. Well, hey, look. I just found this entire discount aisle in the grocery store on the edge of town. Did you know they have microwavable Spam now and generic pastas? And I guess it'll be okay. It'll be...
Forget the Spam.
Well...
Forget the budget meals. It's steak and shrimp for you tonight, and so much dessert, I'll have to carry you to the car.
You got the contract?
We're back in business, Marshmallow. It'll take a couple of weeks to process the paperwork. But then we'll be able to go after those bigger accounts in the valley. We don't have to scrimp and save anymore.
Okay.
We can start preparing for the baby.
Okay.
And you know, I was so excited. I stopped by the store and I got you this. It's to say thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for believing in me.
We can afford this?
It's old, but not pricey. I got it at an estate sale. There's even a stone missing or something.
Griefs pass, hope remains.
Doesn't it, though?
And love, too. Oh, thank you. I'm just so relieved. Thank you, Cory. Flowers or lilies? I don't know. Do you smell something?
No, it's probably just something to use to polish the ring with. Hey, you go get ready. I'm taking you out crib shopping and out for a 5-course lunch.
5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.